Good morning, Bill. How you doing today?
Good morning. I'm Brother Bill, and welcome to this installment of The Essentials.
All right. So yesterday we started with the creation story. We're continuing that, but it looks like there's some differences.
They look like differences. These aren't. I look at them. One complements the other. In Genesis 1, you get the creation story, but it's just the facts. You have the chronology of it. 6 days. God starting with nothing and creating everything, and then after that, it says, of course, that what God made before, with making an ocean full of fish, a sky full of stars, a land full of animals and all the plants, so much variety, and then just two people, because God made all of this for us because He loves us, and in Genesis 2, we get some of the particulars. It starts off just summarizing that God created the heavens and the earth, and in the days, and then it says on the seventh day that God rested. And this is not to be taken as rest as if God's exhausted and His hands are on His knees and He's huffing and puffing like that. It's more the kind of rest for if an artist, when he finally gets it out of his mind and onto the canvas, and he looks it over to say, yes, that's what I wanted. That's the kind of rest that it is.
So it's not inactivity then, it's a break from regular activity.
Yes. And I would say, in a way, it's not so much about rest as about taking time to appreciate. Even though He's the maker of it, so as an artist, they still go to galleries and look at their own work. But moving forward, it goes on to talk about all of this, and He made everything, and there was no rain, and but He made all of this. And He said there was no rain. He hadn't done much because there was no man to till it. Again, as we saw in Genesis 1, He told both people and animals that plants, green herbs, would be our food because there was no such thing as death. So without death, there's no need to kill anything, not in the animal kingdom, certainly not with us. And as moving forward from there, it talks more about God's creation of Adam, because again, all we know is that God created so many varieties of things, but when it came to us, just two people. Talking first about the man, Adam, it said that God formed him out of the dust of the ground, and formed him not just saying, let there be man, but formed him to be something he would do with his hands. And then breathed into him. It doesn't say that He breathed into the fish or into the other animals on the earth, just us. And at that point, again, the uniqueness, the personalness, the intimacy that comes with creation because He did all this for us. And of course, after that, He plants two trees. One's the tree of life. The other one is the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. And He tells them, don't eat from that tree of knowledge of good and evil. The day that you do, you will surely die. Which I've heard people criticize in the past, say, oh, so God's got a problem with knowledge. No, He does not. He has a problem with how that knowledge is obtained. And just like now, most people are against experimentation on animals. How that knowledge is obtained is bad. We don't want to torment things. Just as we've already talked about, since the earth belongs to us, and we, even though God gave it to us and gave us dominion over it, just like with children, if you get a child a small pet, and they pick the puppy up by his ear, we say, no, that's not how you hold the puppy. How you hold the puppy is how to pick him up, not by his ear, not by his tail, but in ways that are comfortable with the puppy. You don't want to hurt the puppy. Okay, we understand that. And with God, it's just more so. And so it's how that knowledge is obtained. That's not how to do it. But the reason those trees are there is to give us a choice. God gave us a free will. We're different from the animals. Salmon swim upstream because their little fish brains are just wired that way. Some birds migrate because their little bird brains are just wired that way. It's not a matter of choice. It's a matter of instinct or behavior, but whatever it is, it's not so much a conscious choice. Nobody ever decides, I'm going to sit this one out. They just do what their instincts drive them to do. Man was given free will to make choices. And that is love's big risk with God. Realizing the risk that He's taking, they may choose wrong. But we'll get more into that in chapter 3. And so He does all that. Then, of course, giving him dominion, he brings all the animals, because the first criticism of creation is when he looks and he says, "It is not good that the man should be alone. I will make an help meet for him." But for all that, God only made one. And yet, in doing that, he didn't just go get more dust. He put Adam to sleep and took a piece out of him. He took a rib, something close to his heart, and he makes woman. And the moment Adam sees her, this at last is flesh of my flesh and bone of my bone. He knows this. It means that we're made for each other. In the same way that husband and wife relationships are unique. There's nothing like it. But that's the way God intended things to be. But there is a specialness there that isn't with the other animals, because he did all this for us, acting toward us in perfect love. That's why he did things the way that he did. And then, of course, the last thing it says is that after doing that, it says that it specifies, saying they were both naked, the man and his wife, and felt no shame. Things don't work that way anymore. Yet you can take a small toddler, someone who's still in diapers, just learning to walk, you're trying to change the child, and off they go for a little walk. They don't care who sees them, They have other things on their mind to do. And we understand that, but nobody thinks that, because they're children.
Right.
And we understand that. But something happens as we're growing up to where, not anymore. We don't do that anymore. And again, we'll get into more of these things, but the intimacy, the special relationship between a man and a woman is something that is created by God. It is our nature because of that. Again, because he loves us. I hope that you'll continue watching. If you have questions, you can write me or email me at brobill@foranministries.org. And until then, thank you for watching.